Hello, game devs. This is Ken Thompson. We're going to talk about your dev environment setup today. Dev environment means the software and the stuff that you have in your computer. We want to make sure that it is set up properly, especially before class. It's really important. Some of these files are, 3 or 6 gigs to download, and it's really important for you to be prepared for class. Specifically, think about a time where maybe you're having trouble and you're trying to troubleshoot something. And I've asked you to log on to a website, but perhaps you haven't registered yet. So there's an extra, 30 seconds, 2 minutes of registering for the thing. And it can really bog down class when you multiply that by 15. That's if everyone does it, that's like 30 minutes of me just standing there. So we want to make sure that our work in class is efficient and we have a lot of time to work on the important things. So it's really important to set up your environment. It's also just important as a game developer to set your environment up so that your desktop is clean. Specifically, making sure that all of your software is up on your bars and that your desktop is clean and that you have a place to set up folders. So we'll be talking a little bit about how you hand in your homework, but that'll be a separate tutorial as far as how to use Git, which is how we're going to be doing that. So let's go through it. The first thing that you need is Git. So what is Git? If we go to Git desktop here, Git desktop is the one that I would recommend you download. There are other options you can download for Windows right here. So GitHub is a website software that allows us to upload files to a cloud and then allow other people on a team that is with you to pull those files down. So if you've used Dropbox or something where everyone shares a folder, that's part of it. But if you've ever opened up a Google Doc, and I'll just open up this dev environment Google Doc, and you go to File, you can go to Version History, and you see version history here. We can actually see where I deleted stuff and changed stuff up, and we can go and we can restore to previous version. I'm not going to do that, but I just want to point out that feature. So that's revision history, and GitHub actually does that for every single file for a video game software. So if you're working in Unity, it will keep track of every single file in Unity. So it's really powerful. And GitHub is something that is a professional level tool. A lot of video game developers use it, and we have a software here. We have a website here, github.uconn.edu, which I'm going to ask you to sign in later during the sign-in part. But we have our own GitHub repository here at UConn. The school of business runs it. It's a big server. It's fast to upload and download. And it's really, really helpful for transferring big files. Because one of the things that's really interesting about us as game developers is we have to create executable files and other things like that run on web servers. That can be kind of difficult, but GitHub really unlocks this tool. This is one of several source control softwares. So there are 2 others you may run across, SVN and Perforce. Perforce is really expensive, but that's actually what I used when I was at work. And it's just, it's just not something we own here. But SVN is kind of like the Linux version of Perforce. It's a very lightweight thing. It installs a lot of places. It doesn't have a lot of tools, but it's also really useful. I used that in college. So I want you to download and install GitHub Desktop. I also want you to download and install Git LFS. So I don't want to get too much into the weeds here, but I want you to download this thing called Git LFS. It's Git Large File Storage. So the way Git works is that it has trouble with large files. So this is an extension that we use as video game developers in order to make Git work for us. And so just download and install that. Go through this, the first server that you're going to work on is actually going to be set up for you already, but you're going to need this installed. Audacity. So I am a big fan of Audacity. A lot of the work I did in game development was audio work, especially like on Spider-Man 3. I did a lot of the voiceover editing and that kind of thing. Audacity is a fantastic audio editing program. I use it professionally, even though I had access to other software. It's just that lightweight and good. It's also on Mac and PC, which and Linux, which can be really helpful. So yeah, I use it professionally to this day. The Adobe editing software and or like Logic Pro, those are good, and you can still do a lot of the same things in Audacity, but in both programs. But Audacity can be really helpful to do some sound effect work. So I really suggest you use it. The Adobe Creative Cloud is important. You're going to want Adobe Premiere, Photoshop, Illustrator. There's also open source software like GIMP and Inkscape. If you don't feel like paying the monthly subscription fee to Adobe, for some students in the digital media and design program, they're using that as part of their book fee because a lot of their classes are using these softwares. For those who are not really interested in the art side and didn't really want to spend too much money on it, GIMP and Inkscape are perfectly good. They're a little bit harder to use, and I haven't used them too much, but there are tutorials out there. There's also other softwares as well, like Piskel and some other things that can be useful in a limited capacity, but you'll want something powerful enough to edit large files, that kind of thing. The other thing is I want a non-watermarked video capture software, so no Bandicam, please, unless you own the software. Download OBS, Open Broadcasting Software. So this is actually what I'm recording on right now. You can see it right there. This is a fantastic little software. It allows you to download, it allows you to stream, it allows you to record. And we have actually used this in the lab with a green screen to stick you inside of a VR environment, which was really fantastic and fun to do. So you can do multiple sources, lay things on top, and record as well. It's really powerful, especially for being free. It's fantastic. Discord. So I'd like you to go to Discord, download this. It's a phone app as well, so you can keep it on your phone. I have it on my phone, and it will ping me. Because I do get a lot of messages coming across my app, if you want to get my attention, or if you have a question like, hey, what is this, and you want me to see it, just use the @ symbol and @ me at GameDevProf. I'm in the server there, just so that I'm aware that stuff is popping up that I need to pay specific attention to, because sometimes people get to chatting, and that's exactly what this is for. It's a chat server for all of us to connect, and you'll also see that there's several different channels in our Discord server for other classrooms. So if you'd like, you can obviously follow along in other places. The other thing you're going to need is Microsoft Edge for sure. And I know that sounds weird, but Microsoft Edge is right now the only thing that'll run a Unity project on your own desktop while you're a WebGL project on your desktop without deploying it to a server. Chrome and Firefox you'll also need, because you're going to want to go back and forth and double check to make sure everything's fine. We're kind of in this WebGL development cycle, which means we need to test things out on multiple browsers. So there's one other thing that I'm going to need you to do, and I'm going to need you to download and install Boot Camp for Mac users. So I'd like you, if you are a Mac user, I need you to download and install Boot Camp. Nothing against Macs, but unfortunately, and I'm using Boot Camp right now. Oops. So Boot Camp is right here on support.apple.com/boot-camp. You can install it for free, and it will get you started going through this. You can do it yourself. You can also go to the Husky help, the UITS help desk, if you need to install it. So yeah, if you are a Mac user, don't use your Mac side. The reason why is because a lot of times, even though we're doing the same things, Mac users will have problems on the Mac side interacting with, for instance, GitHub Desktop. The GitHub Desktop app wasn't updated for Macintosh for like 6 months. So there was a student who was using her Mac side and ended up not being able to hand in her homework because through the normal means, she had to then install Boot Camp halfway through the semester once we figured out the problem was that like there was no button on the interface for the Mac button for the Mac side to do what we needed it to do. So stuff like that. And also there's some graphics drivers stuff, which can be really helpful when you're working in Unity to be on everyone being on the same system. Occasionally there's just something in Unity that won't work because Mac users can't use it. And also there's no VR support on Mac builds. And although if you're using a Mac, you probably won't be able to plug a VR headset in anyway. It is important to be working on PC builds and creating PC builds which you can test if you're going to be using VR. You could work from a Mac side, but I very much recommend that you do not do that. And try to allocate a lot of file space. Don't be stingy with it. It's going to be big. The amount of files that you're going to work with. Try to get at least 128 gigabytes free on your side, on the PC side, dedicated to game development. Try to make sure that you don't install too many other things. All right, so once you've downloaded all of that stuff, you need to register your Git client. So if you downloaded Git Kraken, you have to put your email address in. That's pretty straightforward. You have to put your profile and your name and stuff. The other thing I need you to do is go to github.uconn.edu, not the other website. I'm not going to say it so I don't confuse you, but the one we want to go to is github.uconn.edu, and we're going to sign in. And we're going to sign in with our net IDs. And the reason why we do that is because we have to initialize our Git Enterprise server. Our account. So if you're a freshman or if you've never logged into the system, your name doesn't pop up and I cannot invite you to where you hand in your homework. So you need to log in once. Just that's all you need to do. You don't need to poke around in it or anything. You can if you'd like, but sign in with your net ID, and then and then also make an account on freemusicarchive.org. This is the only, and I repeat, only place I want you to get music from. Do not, I repeat, do not download music from YouTube or other places. You may generate your own music if it is an original piece of work and composition. The Digital Media and Design Department and I often use footage from games, but we get copyright strikes against us when you guys put in. We get copyright strikes against us when you all put in music that isn't allowed. So it can be really detrimental to the flow of us helping support you and all of our graduates. So please just do not do it. It's also just good habit, because think about it, it's just good habit. Download some of the free stuff, because you start poking around in those forums. You start finding the songs you like, and then they're free for you to use. And if they're free, then you can just at the drop of a hat decide, hey, you know what, I'm going to charge $1 and put this on the App Store or whatever. But if you don't, then you have to go through freesound.org. So music is great, but sound effects, it looks like Freesound is having a little bit of trouble right now. Okay. Oh, just took a second. So freesound.org is an amazing place for both music and sound effects. There's some music in here, and you'll just it looks like it's going real slow right now, so I won't expect too much from it. But log in. You cannot download anything without logging in. Most of this is Creative Commons, so there's licenses here. This sound is public domain, so this is just a random sound of the day. But when you do searches, you'll see a bunch of these different things pop up. Now check this out. This is a play button. You can play all of the sound effects in browser. This green color represents that this is probably kind of like a mid to higher pitched sound. If it was like blue or purple, it would be like a really deep bassy sound. And because it is kind of even, I can already tell that this is just kind of like a of the same volume across the entire thing. It's 30 seconds. It looks like I've got some stuff. It looks like it's a DJ, it's a sequence loop. So let's hit play for a second. So it's a really fantastic way to get things. The other thing you're going to notice is when you download one of these sound files, and this, again, is the only place I want you to get sound from, is either freemusicarchive.org or freesound.org. But there is a username and there's the file name. So when you download everything, it will include the username in there. And it will also add it to a list of downloaded files. As you collect sound effects, it is imperative that you credit the people who created the sounds for you. And I usually use an Excel sheet, and I just put their names and their files that I downloaded into this Excel sheet, and I keep track of it all along. So I would suggest you do that. Otherwise, you're going to have a lot of work to do at the end of the semester. So just doing credits and credit lists, it can be a little irritating. The other thing you should do is go to Unity and download Unity. So the Unity software that I want you to download is listed in your syllabi. There is different versions. So we have Get Started. This will allow you to download Unity Hub, which is this file system here. Now, Unity gets updated a lot. There's usually 4 or 5 different versions of Unity every year, at least, not including betas and that kind of thing. So if I go to installs here, you can see that I have 2019.3.0b1 and this 2018 one. So when you're in Unity, you're going to want to download a specific Unity. And again, that is listed in your syllabus. I'm not going to say it here because this is going to be changed by the time and why record another video. So it's listed in your syllabus as to which software to use, but just download the correct one here. And then when you go to projects, you can go to file, new project, and you can choose which version that you're in. There's a lot of different reasons why. We're not going to get into it, why you might have multiple versions. I'd like you to go to Kenny's Platformer Art Deluxe Assets. I'd like you to download Kenny's Platformer Art Deluxe Assets. Unzip these files. Don't just leave them in your downloads folder, but put them somewhere safe inside your documents folder. This is all free. He is a fantastic artist. It has nothing to do with me. There's an E. I don't spell my name with an E, nor do I go by Kenny. But it's just my alter ego, right? So these are fantastic little images and icons, and you've probably seen these before on the App Store because they're pretty prolific. But unzip these, stick them in your My Documents in a permanent place. Purchase and download the software from the syllabus. So again, there's going to be some software listed in your syllabus. I'd like you to download that, please. Please do that at the beginning of the semester and don't wait until the lesson plan. You may hold off if you think there might be a Unity sale going on soon, but typically in the spring there is not. There's usually one kind of in the summer and then kind of around Christmas time. But not to discount that. But so if you need to save a penny or two, feel free to wait, but get it downloaded before the class starts, please. It's just really frustrating when everyone's not ready, because again, these things can be really big and it takes a while to import stuff too. So Discord. So this is our Discord channel. Go ahead and hop on there. All right, go to Discord, open Discord. I have the app on the on my desktop here. And we've got ourselves some channels here. Go into the welcome and introduce yourself. And then in your classroom, there's different classes here. So you can check this out. Please also register a Twitter account and a YouTube account as well. You're going to need to follow along with this channel, this YouTube channel, and our Twitter for information. And you can follow me at GameDevProf, and this is the YouTube channel link. All right, and the last thing you can do is go in. And the last thing you can do is go in and say hello to your classmates on Discord in the introductions channel. Just answer who are you, maybe what your favorite game is or what you're playing lately. Just say hi. That's about it for your dev environment setup. So I will see you in class.